What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Down South Up North. Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday. Matt, dude, those damn Buckeyes, you're wearing the shirt today. Man, had a bunch of massive games this past week. We had the divisional round. We had some upsets, some great games, some boring games, and then Monday night we had the college football championship. Before we get into the whole episode, how we doing, man?
I'm doing great. I took all of yesterday to celebrate and really kind of just capture all the feelings. So sorry about the late upload of the week, but feels great, dude. It feels really good to see one of my teams win, especially with the trajectory that most of them have been going. So,
dude, I bet it does, man. Ohio State, they've been due for quite some time.
Kyle, they've
now.
been knocking on the door for a long time now. So,
yeah, they've been due, but let's waste no time and get straight into the athletic alert. I mean, it was a great game, man. After that first quarter, not the Buckeyes, the Fighting Irish, their first drive of the game took up like 12 minutes.
9:45, I think it was.
That's what it was? Okay.
Yep. 18 plays.
18 plays, like what a drive. They capitalized with a touchdown. And then after that, dude, it's just the route began. Will Howard was like, at one point, I think he was like 12 for 12.
14 for 14.
He went up to
finished the first half 15 of 16. Best half by any quarterback in a national championship game in college football history. So, Will Howard.
Yeah, the Chip Kelly, dude. I've never been really a big Chip Kelly fan.
Oh, me neither.
But I mean, his play calls Monday night were that their first touchdown of the game. They're knocking on the Notre Dame's door, and he just calls like a crazy play with Jeremiah Smith, like wide open. And Notre Dame knew it was coming. If you watch, like ESPN posted a bunch of stuff about it, like the cornerback for Notre Dame's like jumping up and down, pointing, asking for help, and it was just too late. Judkins had a great game, 2 touchdowns for him.
3.
He's a bowling ball, dude.
He had the hat trick, Kyle. He had 2 rushing, 1 receiving.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, he had 2 receptions, 21 yards, and a touchdown, and 2 rushing. So, congratulations to the Buckeyes, dude. Got a little close there at the end, kind of, but not really.
It was. I was getting a little scared there because they went down. They scored a touchdown in the second half, into the third quarter, and they got the 2-point conversion. So it was a 16-point game. I'm not gonna lie, man. I've watched Ohio State all year. I watched them against Michigan. I saw the Buckeyes kicker struggle against Michigan, missing 2 field goals. But Notre Dame, very questionable play calling by Marcus Freeman. They go down, and it was the fourth quarter at this point. They're down 16, and they're around like their 35, 40-yard line area, and it's like fourth and manageable, but like I want to say it was like 4th and 5, 4th and 6. So, like, that's kind of a tough call. My opinion, you go out there, you kick the field goal, you go down 13. Defense has been playing pretty good all second half. But they go for it. They get it. They get down to the 8-yard line. Ohio State, you know they have a great red zone defense. And they hold them to 4th and goal on the 9, and then they decide to kick. It's like, all right, well, you had a field goal shot back at the 36.
You just wasted more time.
Just wasted a lot more time just to do the same thing. Kyle, you've been to that stadium, Mercedes-Benz. It's not outside. Weather's not a factor.
Yeah.
And you kick there a 27-yard field goal that he misses. And the Irish kicker has been great all year, so it was a very, very bizarre moment in the game. But I honestly think that was the nail in the coffin when they missed that field goal. Even though Ohio State gets the ball back, they look great. Everything they did was correct, and it was the classic tale of a too little, too late for Notre Dame. Riley Leonard, great player. Did not think he was the best passer of the football, but he proved me wrong on Monday night. I'll tell you what, I know he was hurt, but I believe it was 4 rushes for 3 yards from Love, the running back from Notre Dame, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats right now.
I mean, again, I know he's hurt. I know he's a sophomore, but you have got to give him the ball more than 4 times.
But that's one of their playmakers, dude. That's a key member of that Notre Dame offense. And yeah, like you said, 4 carries for 3 yards. That's just ain't gonna do it, brother. It just ain't gonna do it.
And I know, I mean, like I said, Ohio State's was shutting them down. However, you just said it. That's a playmaker. The ball needs to be in his hands more than 4 times in that game.
And he didn't do anything receiving either. Maybe people are like, well, he didn't rush, but maybe he caught the ball out of the backfield. No, 2 receptions for 5 yards.
Right.
No, so, Jaden Greathouse had a great game, no pun intended. 6 receptions, 128 yards, 2 of them, 2 touchdowns. But it was just like you said earlier, just Notre Dame they just waited too long to finally get back in the game.
And it was said all broadcast, they couldn't get Ohio State off the field on 3rd down. I think if you look at the numbers, Ohio State had a lot of 3rd down conversions, and Notre Dame did not. And that's, they always say, Kyle, it's not who makes the most explosive plays or the best plays. It's whoever makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win the game. In Ohio State, Ibuka had a very crucial fumble. Like, that game should have been put away there in the late 3rd quarter, early 4th. But regardless, I think it was in Ohio State's hands for the entirety of the game. I was a little nervous at the end of the game when they were up 31-23, but at the same time, I was sitting on my couch. I was like, I would way rather be on this side of the ball game, because just so many times I've been on the other side of like, your team's down 8, you need a defensive stop on 3rd and 11, and you're gonna leave Jeremiah Smith one-on-one. Who, I'm sorry, Kyle, but I think that was one of, if not the greatest freshman season by a wide receiver ever. I mean, every single week, it was another week, another touchdown from Jeremiah Smith. And the only freshman, and this was to my surprise, who had more touchdowns in a single season. You want to take a knock at it? It happened in 2007. That's the only hint I'll give you.
2007.
Freshman receiver who had the most touchdowns.
Calvin Johnson came to my mind.
Close.
ACC?
Nope. He was a great receiver, not for very long.
Give me a conference and maybe I'll get it.
NFC. He was.
Oh no! I thought you were talking about college.
Okay.
Said NFC.
Well, all right. I don't know.
So he was in the NFC.
He was in the NFL, and he played in the NFC. He was on the wrong side of a very notorious play in the NFC playoffs.
Wrong side of a very notorious play. Not Dez Bryant.
Nope. Close.
Close again. It's got to be same division.
No.
AJ Brown.
No. A lot earlier. But for time's sake, Michael Crabtree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Who had 22 touchdowns, which I don't know. I guess that's interesting that I never knew that. But Back to Jeremiah Smith, just an unbelievable season. I'm very happy the Buckeyes are going to have him for at least 2 more years. And he said he wants 3 more, but he's only going to be there 2 more years. After his third year, he's going pro. This dude is special. Will Howard, again, I'm going to give him another round of applause because after the Oregon shenanigans earlier in the season, after the Michigan game, I was like, this is Kyle McCord 2.0. I mean, this is taking a Honda McCord like we had, and you're just barely upgrading to a new year. But Will Howard played excellent, and he deserves his flowers. Jack Sawyer made one of the most legendary plays, and that play against Texas will go down in history. And they handled the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I think, soundly. And as you texted me on Tuesday morning, the Buckeyes did the world a favor on Monday night by destroying the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
They did, dude. They did. Will Howard played a great game. The entire Buckeyes roster played a great game. I was looking at the stats while you were talking, and it's just Ohio State dominated on all three sides of the ball. They dominated special teams. They dominated defense and offense. And I remember you telling me a long time ago that the problem with Ohio State is their offensive line. And this playoffs, dude, Will Howard had so much time in the pocket. He had so much time in the pocket. And, like, he only threw 2 interceptions in this playoffs and 8 touchdowns, 8-to-1 ratio.
I know it's the first time we've had a format like this, but this run that they just had, all bias aside, I think it's going to be pretty tough to beat.
It was easily the hardest route out of the 12 teams.
And correct me if I'm wrong, they were never in trouble. Like, not one time I was like, damn, this is going to be a toss-up. This is going to come down to the wire. Maybe the Notre Dame game, Texas was close if Sark had, like, half of a brain cell to be like, hey, let's not run a toss on the 1-yard line. Maybe we just give it to our great quarterback who's mobile. But other than that, soundly, I mean, crushed Tennessee. Against Oregon was an even worse game, which I don't know how that was, but it was. Texas, they beat them soundly. It was a 14-point game. A couple plays could have decided which way that went, but Notre Dame, again, I didn't really feel nervous the entire game outside of that first drive. So, hardest route, and never a doubt they kind of cruised their way all the way in. But Kyle, think about this. Ohio State and Notre Dame, had there not been 12 teams this season, we would not have gotten the national championship 2 nights ago. Because it was a 7 versus an 8. But I think this is better, and I know we've had this conversation for years now leading up to this point. I think 12 was the perfect number.
I think it was too.
Because I know we argued on 8. I know we thought they should have gone to 8, but I think 12, especially after seeing 1, 2, 3, and 4 go out when they did, I think 12 is a perfect number. Gives a lot more teams a chance. I think we saw a lot of great college football played. And, ultimately, I'm happy for obvious reasons. But next year, man, just hoping the committee boosts that up to 16 teams so Ohio State can
win again.
Can always win the first year of the new playoff system.
Nah, dude, this was fun watching all of this year. 12 teams, like you said, first year. But they can't complain. Like you said, 7 versus 8. We wouldn't have had this matchup if we just stuck with the 4. It was fun, dude. Like, It reminded me of playoff baseball at the very beginning. Like the team that has the higher seed, they're hosting a home game. Like look at the Penn State game against SMU. That place was rocking, dude, when they got those 2 pick-sixes. Like that place was about to fall to the ground, dude, that whole stadium. And then Buckeyes beat Tennessee at home. That place was booming. So it's like it's super fun to watch. And then actually going to a game in person, it was awesome, dude. So can't really complain. But now, like, is this the same thing with like the baseball playoffs? Say, Braves, they won the division for quite some time. They had all that time off. Like you said, all of the top 4 seeds, they got knocked out first round because they had 2 weeks to prepare. Maybe the key is to win all your games, lose your conference championship. Then you're just
you think Ohio State laid out a blueprint for teams?
No. I'm just saying, like that's probably the way to do it because Arizona State won their conference, lost first round. Georgia won their conference, lost for all the conference.
Right. No, I hear you, but there's also other factors. I mean, Arizona State does not play in the best Power 5 conference. Georgia had a backup quarterback.
But they should have won that game against Texas.
Oh, for sure.
Dude, a fucking 4th and 11, 4th and 13. You let that happen?
I know. And it would have been nice to see Scadaboo play one more game. But Georgia, backup quarterback. Oregon, just like the O in their logo, 0 excuses. Like, what the hell was that? You're on the way. Yeah. The boys from Ohio are traveling to Pasadena on your coast, just a little south from you, and you put up that embarrassing performance. 0 excuse. And then the 2 seed, or I'm sorry, Georgia was a 2 seed. Boise State, again, Mountain West. They had Ashton Gianti. I think they were slightly overrated. Just my opinion. But
yes.
Right, so outside of Oregon, Georgia, 3 and 4 were a little bit weaker. I think Texas was better than both of them. I think Penn State was better than both of them, and they got lower seeds. So, biggest thing we can learn from this, Kyle, rank them 1 through 12, not 1 through 4 with conferences, and then 5 through 12 everybody else.
Yeah, I could agree on that.
But I do want to bring us to our next point. As you know, and last year was an exception because the cheaters did win. However, back-to-back seasons where a Big Ten team has won the national championship. Michigan, obviously, last year going 15-0. And this year, of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes winning it all. And Kyle, last year, it was Michigan versus Washington. This year it was Ohio State versus Notre Dame. That marks 2 back-to-back years without an SEC team in the national championship. We talked about this a few weeks ago. It was a down year for the SEC. We know that. However, Ohio State paid $20 million for this roster, most of which were returners, returning to the team who have been there for the past 3 years. But where does the SEC go from here after back-to-back years the Big Ten has taken away into the sunset with the national championship trophy?
You gotta capitalize in the transfer portal. Alabama, when Saban left, Bond leaves. Well, technically he was still in the SEC because Texas joined, but like your best wide receiver leaves. Now your best halfback leaves, and all these players are transferring. 13 Georgia players transferred after losing to Notre Dame. It's like, got to capitalize in the transfer portal, and you got to capitalize with the NIL. Because now, the reason why Bama was so good is because, number one, it's Nick Saban, and when he's eating dinner at a family's house, he's just going to look at the dad or the mom or even both and just be like, hey, if you want your son to be a better football player, a better son, a better role model, leader, whatever, you want him to go to the NFL and play every Sunday, come to Alabama. Come to Tuscaloosa. Your son will be league ready by his junior year. And by that time, he'll be a first-round pick. Like, that's just what, like, people, it was kind of like the Tom Brady effect almost. The Bucks were shit when Tom wasn't there. They're awful, dude. The laughingstock of the NFC South. Well, Panthers are really bad too, but Bucks just weren't anything special. You get Tom Brady on your team, it's gonna make people want to play for you. That's kind of what was happening with Nick Saban. It's like, dude, I'm gonna play my heart out for this guy, and I'm gonna buy in. I'm gonna do everything he tells me to do, and they get drafted. I think I saw some crazy stat like Saban had like 50 or 60 players drafted in the first round or something like that.
I mean, yeah, it's Nick. You said Nick Saban.
Yeah,
and he's built the greatest college football program known to man.
40. He is. So Saban has a grand total of 133 draft picks, including 47 first-round picks.
And he was there since 2007?
I believe so.
16, 17 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, here's the thing, though, Kyle. Like, NIL, I think, was designed to obviously compensate players for all the hard work that they put in. But in a wider lens, it's to even the playing field. Right? I mean, yeah, I'm going to go to a smaller school where I get a bigger role and make more money. It just makes sense. However, you would still think the big dogs in the SEC would reign heavy. And I don't know. I mean, I told you, I didn't think Georgia was like that overpowered this year compared to years past. Alabama. Like, DeBoer, first year, I'll give you a little pass, but if he, it was not a good Alabama year. It really wasn't. And really anybody in the SEC. Texas had a great year, but now you look into the future, Quinn Ewers is mostly gone. You have Arch Manning, right? But you kind of have to rebuild, around him. Good thing for Texas, though, is, they reload running backs like LSU reloads wide receivers. So that's good. I don't really trust Brian Kelly with LSU, even though they always have great teams around him. We talked about South Carolina, but it's going to be interesting for the SEC, man, because I'll tell you what, James Franklin, he's always going to fold in the big game.
Yeah,
but
he is.
Penn State's a good program.
Oh, yeah.
Michigan will be back. As much as I hate to say that, they will be back. Right? They just got a 5-star quarterback. They'll be back eventually.
Next 10 years.
Dude, no. I'm telling you, in 2 to 3 years, I think Michigan will be back. But I think the Big Ten is only getting better, and I think there's a lot of pressure on the SEC to keep up.
It's transfer portal, dude. It's just not the same anymore. People don't want to play for their logo or for the name on the back of their jersey.
100% agree. 100%.
They're like, where can I go to make the most money and just kind of get out of here? Look at LSU's quarterback from probably a year, 2 years ago. I forgot his name. He was a backup, dude.
Yeah.
Raising Cane's or like Bojangles or someone was like, here's $10 million for an NIL deal. He retired from football. He's like, I'm done. I'm done with football, blah, blah, blah.
Miles Brennan,
that's his name. Yeah, Miles Brennan gets paid $10 million and retires. And a good point is Look at Army and Navy now. When's the last time both those teams been ranked in the top 25? I don't think ever. Like, ever. Then, because Army, say they have a running back who's, he's a stud. He's good. He's a 3-star or 4-star. But if he goes to the Bamas, the Georgias, the Ohio States, it's not going to be until his sophomore, junior year before he's, getting some serious playing time. But Army's like, hey, man, we'll throw you some money. We'll do some extra stuff. If you come here and play, you'll be a starter immediately. The only thing is you're probably not going to win that many games if that's okay. And he's like, all right, goes over there, plays amazing. They're ranked. They're the first in their conference in the AAC, the American Conference. I don't know. It's weird. And then you look at Dabo Swinney, who hasn't been good since 2017, 2018, because he doesn't capitalize the transfer portal.
No.
If you don't capitalize the transfer portal, you're going to be shit.
And look, it's no secret. I don't like Dabo.
I don't either.
Never been a fan of his, like, ever. I really think he got incredibly blessed. I think he's a great recruiter. Getting kids out of high school, but he got Deshaun Watson and he got Trevor Lawrence back to back. And I really think outside of those two, and those two were phenomenal college quarterbacks. Like, phenomenal. Like, Trevor Lawrence is up there with some of the greats, right? The Vince Youngs. I'd even put him up there with the Joe Burrows, and I know that's a crazy statement, but he was excellent at Clemson.
He was crazy.
They were generational talent, but outside of that, dude, he hasn't sniffed. I mean, they got the 12 seed this year, but I don't think, if they didn't win the ACC against SMU, they wouldn't have been in. So, I agree. It's really the transfer portal. Guys clearly don't care as much as they once did. But I also think that's why Ohio State was such a big threat this year, Kyle. I mean, like I said, they spent a lot of money on that roster. But most of the team, if you look at it, they went out and they got Caleb Downs on defense.
But their team stayed loyal.
Most of them were there for all the other 3 years. I mean, Ryan Day is already looking for next year's roster. He's already out recruiting. He's already out looking at the transfer portal. He's already doing his homework. Right? 2 days after he won the national championship. Because that's what he has to do.
Yeah.
But they built a team. They built a foundation. And like I said, they've been knocking on the door for this to happen. And I'm just so glad it finally did.
Yeah, dude. I mean, go through the playoff games for Ohio State, like their history. You get smacked in the mouth by Bama in 2020, which that was a good team. Don't get me wrong. Ohio State had a really good team. Y'all only played, 7 games that year?
Yeah, that was COVID year. Devontae Smith was
the Heisman.
Unstoppable. They had Jalen Waddle, who was banged up that year, but still good. Mac Jones was incredible.
Yeah, that Bama team was really, really nasty. And then if they don't call that, who was it? God bless, what is his name? He was that receiver for Clemson. It was John something. He was number 8. He caught the ball. He took 3 steps, and then you guys punched the ball out and took it back to the house, and they called it an incomplete pass. Not John Lynch, not John Ross.
Yeah, John Ross was a while ago.
Clemson wide receiver 2019.
Well, yeah, so you were going a year back.
Oh, goodness gracious. This is going to eat me alive.
Justin
Ross.
Yeah, because T. Higgins was on the other side.
Yeah, Justin Ross. Yeah, Justin Ross catches the ball literally takes like 4 steps, and Ohio State punches the ball out. Y'all take it back to the house for a touchdown, and they call it back. And then later on in that game, Justin throws it one way, the receiver goes the other way, gets picked off, game over. The missed field goal against Georgia
No,
2 years ago.
no, not missed field goal. The embarrassing kick that barely got in the end zone. I will never forget that. That was New Year's Eve too.
Oh, right when the clock struck.
Yeah, right when the clock. It was like, all right, Cinderella, bam. Here's the pumpkin kicker.
And what is it? There's one more I'm forgetting.
No, I think that was the last, because they missed the last 2 years.
Yeah,
they were.
but,
You know why? Because they lost to Michigan. They lost to Michigan, and that was their exit.
yeah, but hey, 2014, y'all smacked that Bama team in the Sugar Bowl. You
And then smacked Oregon.
Smacked Oregon. And then this year, you beat Tennessee, you beat Texas, you beat Oregon, and you beat the Fighting Irish, baby. So, congratulations to the entire Buckeyes roster. Ryan Day, you are finally not born on third base, brother.
He got home.
Congratulations.
He got home.
He got home.
Scored a run. He scored a run.
He scored a run.
One
dude.
base for each game.
But yeah, man, just wrapping it up. SEC, it's not looking good, dude. But in other sports, I feel like it's not even close.
Yeah.
Like baseball, SEC's damn. Dude, I gotta look up college World Series champions. I want to say the last like 5 have been SEC teams.
Yeah, I mean,
Tennessee.
look, you got baseball, basketball. They're creeping up. ACC still owns it.
Since 2019, it's been an SEC team that has won the College World Series.
Yeah.
Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi
But
State. 2020 was out.
What are you notorious for? Notorious for football. Saturdays down
football.
south. But,
Sadly.
hey, man. It's all good. Change is inevitable.
I mean, so Kirby, he gets the Branch brothers, and those guys, I mean, that's kind of like a package deal since they're brothers from USC. I want to say both of them are wide receivers. Maybe one is a DB or something like that. But Kirby, you have an embarrassing loss in the Sugar Bowl. You go straight to the transfer portal. You get a few nice pickups. And other coaches, they just haven't been doing that, dude. DeBoer, you lose half your team. Gone. All of them. They're gone. Lane, I feel like Lane's gonna make some noise. Lane Kiffin, he maybe. I mean, you're losing. He did lose Judd, which massive blow.
The Jackson Dart's out of there too. No.
Yeah, he's probably going to the draft this year. Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's just I could sit here and go team by team, but yeah, man. They got a lot of work to do. Because it seems like up north, those teams in the Big Ten, they're proud to wear their team's logo. They're proud to wear that name on the back of their jersey, and they'll stay loyal. Like some teams or some guys down south, dude, it's just like one and done. I'm kind of getting my feet wet with this team to see if I like it, see if I fit well. If I don't, I'm just going somewhere else. Then why play? Why play? Right. It's like Jack Sawyer, for example. He committed to Ohio State. He played at Ohio State for 3 or 4 years. And then he went to the draft.
And he freaking grew up an Ohio State fan, man. They got baby pictures of him with an Ohio State bib when he was 6 months old. Loyalty,
man, never fails. But guys, that's gonna do it for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Again, dude, it's just every episode. It feels like every episode now is just It's go, Matt. Yeah, Matt. Let's go, Matt. Your team's winning. Yeah, Matt. Let's go.
Future's
Yeah.
bright. Your coach is fired. Hey, Kyle, don't worry. Time's a ticking. Pretty soon we're gonna have an episode where I'm gonna be not very happy with Jerry Jones' selection, and I've been told, according to social media, Jerry Jones is on a solo mission to find the Cowboys' next head coach. So he's not doing anything. Now, what they don't tell you is every time they need a new coach, he is on a solo mission because nobody else's input matters. So I will have an outrage pretty soon. But not today. We're celebrating today.
Not today.
We're celebrating the Buckeyes.
Still happy, still positive, but that will come soon. But guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out the description for all of our social medias. Hope you guys had a good weekend. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.